Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was confronted over his stance on accountability after the Signal chat leak controversy erupted. In a joint press conference in the Philippines, Hegseth addressed a question over a journalist revealing he was added to a classified chat discussing war plans in Yemen. Atlantic magazine editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg reported he was added to a Signal chat by a user named Mike Waltz. Other members in the chat were Hegseth and top intelligence officials in the Trump administration. The group's messages contained details on an ongoing military operation in Yemen in March.
This is for Secretary Hegseth. You gave a speech last month at a Pentagon town hall where you specifically talked at length about accountability. And I'm wondering, including even in the smallest things you said, and I'm wondering if now, as we have the Senate Armed Forces Committee asking for a report into the Signal controversy, if you feel, as the leader of the Defense Department, you have any level of responsibility for what Marco Rubio and some other people have called a mistake.
Thank you for the question. I'm responsible for ensuring that our department is prepared and ready to deter and defeat our enemies. And I'm quite proud of what our forces in CENTCOM did on that initial series of very effective and devastating strikes, and the ongoing campaign that we are undertaking, because that is, again, on the backs of 4 years of deferred maintenance and failure and weakness of the Biden administration, we are reestablishing deterrence. And as the leader of that department, my job is to advise and work alongside the president and then work with my fellow cabinet members to ensure that we're operationalizing in every way possible, reestablishing that deterrence. So we will ensure the freedom of navigation returns to that part of the world, just as pertinent to our conversation today, freedom of navigation is something the Philippines experiences in the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea. It's something we take very seriously.
The analogy is incomplete, but if you violate the small stuff and you allow it to happen, the big stuff, it creates a culture where big stuff you're not held accountable for. I think the same thing exists inside our services, making sure at every level there is standards and accountability, and that we live it at the highest levels as well. Which is why we are going to, look back at what happened in Afghanistan and hold people accountable. Not to be retrospective, not for retribution, but to understand what went wrong and why there was no accountability for it. Those types of things are examples. But I just appreciate the service so many of you give. I know so many people watching. It's the honor of a lifetime to come alongside you. No one will work harder. No one's going to be attempt to be more transparent with the American people and with you. We do want to hear your feedback, and we're going to hit the ground running. And I'm grateful to President Trump for his leadership. We're going to rebuild the military and focus on the truth.